Most people think narcissism only shows up in how you treat others. But what if it's already showing up in your dreams? In this video, you'll see how one specific dream pattern can quietly reveal whether you're leaning towards narcissism or the opposite. Stay with me because once you notice this, you won't look at your dreams the same way again. While there's no doubt that narcissism equates to manipulative behavior, did you know the opposite of narcissism can be just as harmful? That's what psychologist Craig Malkin, the author of Rethinking Narcissism, called echoism, and it's society's acceptable form of manipulation. So, in other words, if narcissism is about needing to feel special, visible, and admired, echoism is about being afraid to stand out at all and even echoing other people's needs and desires instead of acknowledging your own. Have you ever read an article about narcissism and thought to yourself, oh, wow, I have some of those red flags? It may cause you a bit of pause, but instead of labeling yourself, think of it like this. We all fall on a narcissist egoist spectrum, depending on our experiences, our relationships, and how we learn to move through the world. Your dreams are especially good at showing you these blind spots. Dreams show you how you think you're showing up in life and also how you actually do show up. You know, narcissists never think that they're a narcissist. So could you be one in denial? Or could you be someone who just echoes and then lets the loud one take all the heat for it? Chances are you're somewhere on that spectrum. Let's play a little dream game and use it like a mirror to find out where you're landing on that spectrum right now. Here's how to play along. I'm going to present a dream scenario from a real dream. Then you get to choose if that dream is leaning towards narcissism or egoism. And if you've ever had dreams like these, you'll know yourself a lot better after this game. So if you get it right, give yourself 2 points. And if you're not in too much shock afterwards, please share your score in the comments. All right, let's play. This dream is about attention and space. I'm in a large house with several people. Everyone goes off into separate rooms to do their own thing. I'm hurt that people didn't stick around to hear about my new book. Seems like no one cared. This dreamer feels like he should be the center of attention. And when other people actually have a life outside his orbit, he equates that to, well, nobody cares about me. This dreamer grew up with very self-involved parents and learned that the only way to feel important was to make noise, to draw attention to himself, since it seemed like nobody cared otherwise. His worst nightmare was that he would become irrelevant. So naturally, as an adult, he causes mayhem and commotion to suppress his fear of being forgotten. Give yourself 2 points if you said that this dream leans towards narcissism. If you've had similar dreams, you may lean this way because you feel overlooked. You need reassurance or validation, or you learn to equate attention with being wanted or important. You probably don't like this trait in yourself. So if this is you, try to notice those times when you start to feel unwanted. Take a few seconds to breathe in and repeat a mantra to yourself to help hijack your automatic program, your automatic response. You can say, I am seen even when attention is elsewhere. Now, here's another dream. It's about boundaries. I'm making chili in a crock pot. I looked up a recipe and I was so proud of myself for actually cooking. I'm adding some special ingredients that I really like. My mom steps in and loudly objects to the way that I'm making it and basically says how it should be done according to her. I give a detailed explanation as to why I'm doing it this way. I ended up feeling embarrassed about how I made it and decided to scrap the whole thing. I'm upset with myself for wasting so much time. This dreamer was taught early in life that it wasn't okay to try new things. If she did, she might screw it up and annoy her caretakers or cause them to do extra work. So if she dared to think on her own, she needed to be prepared to have an answer for it, especially if something accidentally went wrong. This dreamer grew up needing to be hypervigilant. So in adulthood, her nervous system was always on edge, and she felt like she always needed to be ready to argue her point at any minute. 2 points if you said this dream leans toward echoist. If you've had similar dreams, you may feel pressure to over-explain or adjust, walk on eggshells around someone else. You feel rude about declining an offer or saying no to others' demands. Or maybe you even comply automatically without even considering or questioning or realizing that you can have a conversation about it first. Because after all, you learned that you don't have the right to question. I'm certain you don't want this as a default pattern. While you may not be the obvious cause of friction in a relationship, because you simply comply, your unwillingness to speak your mind and stick to it actually enables the other person to continue their behavior unchecked, and you're giving away your voice willingly. Your thoughts, desires, and needs are important. Try to catch yourself when you are echoing someone else and putting your own wants and desires on the back burner. And repeat this mantra to yourself. I honor my needs and pace as they are. Okay, this dream is about voice and expression. I'm following my mom, but I keep losing her in the crowd. It's like it's a deliberate game of cat and mouse, where I'm afraid of losing her, but then she keeps popping up from time to time. I hear loud echoes of her voice in the building as I'm searching for her. I grow increasingly frustrated until I finally find her, and I express to her my mild frustration at having lost her in the crowd. This dreamer grew up needing to care for mom's every need, and her mom couldn't handle emotions at all. So she had to temper down her own anger at being disregarded and played with in order to make sure that mom didn't lose it. Notice how she was very upset in the dream, but ultimately only expressed mild frustration. And did you notice the word echo was in this dream? This dreamer spent her childhood and into adulthood being an echo of her mom. She struggled to have a voice. And you know all this just by looking at this dream. I'm sure you saw that this dream leans echoist, but I'll give you bonus points if you can tell me who the narcissist is in this dream. If this is like your dream or even your waking life experience, you've probably been told that you're a great listener, but speaking may be more rare or uncomfortable for you. And if you have to attend a group event, you're probably more comfortable being the wallflower, and you certainly don't want to be in the spotlight. But don't you want to be comfortable in any setting? Don't you want to do things or talk about subjects that you like? Here's a mantra you can use when you catch yourself holding back, waiting for permission, or wanting to disappear into a crowd. My voice belongs here. If you lean narcissist like the dreamer's mom, know that you're not a bad person. You just learned that this trait kept you safe. You may feel that your voice needs to be heard more. Perhaps you feel like if other people speak, then your voice might be lost, or that you need to dangle a carrot in front of someone or they will lose interest. One of your greatest fears may be that someone doesn't like you. If you find that you interrupt others or struggle to pause for someone else to give input, here's a mantra for you. It is safe to pause and listen. Okay, here's the last opportunity for points. I have a magic wand and I walk around the building, tapping everybody on the forehead with it as I walk by with a big smile. I feel like I'm surrounded by sparkles. Some people start to wander off, so I run up to them and shower them with compliments. My pockets are full of change, so I choose a few people to give coins to. hoping that they'll stay. This dream shows how the dreamer is drawn to admiration. He believes that if he keeps up the act of his sparkling personality, then no one can deny him. He also feels like he chooses people to be around him, even though he's deeply fearful that others won't choose him. And he also has a fear that others will lose interest. So he has to keep up the excitement and energy so as not to disappoint his fans. He also learned that to keep people from leaving him, he needs to go overboard with flattery. This is classic love bombing. He needs to hook people to keep his magical feeling. And there's another 2 points for noticing that this dream leans towards narcissism. If this is like your dream, you may be confused by other people's feelings because you never learned to acknowledge them yourself. Your feelings may have been bought off or glossed over, maybe with the promise of ice cream later or being showered with gifts. There's no judgment here. You adopted this strategy because it worked, but it's manipulation. It's not true and authentic. And you will not experience meaningful relationships if you can't move through the discomfort that comes with being vulnerable. You don't have to put on a face to sparkle. Here's your mantra: I am enough. Now, if you've been on the receiving end of love bombing, you probably don't even know when the bomb dropped. This is where someone uses excessive affection, attention, praise, and intensity to create rapid emotional attachment. It may feel like instant connection or destiny. When love happens that fast and from one side, that's a red flag. And if you lean more towards echoism, of course you want to believe that you can have all that excitement without creating any spotlight around yourself. That's what you've learned, right? You learned that if someone shows you that much attention, then you must comply. But remember, closeness, trust, and mutual care develop over time. Here's your mantra: I love myself. Well, how did you do? I hope you're finding it easier to understand your own dreams. So when it comes to using your own dreams to see how you're leaning on the narcissist echoism spectrum, remember, one side learned to stay safe by shrinking, and the other side learned to stay safe by standing out. Balance is learning that you don't need either of those to belong. You are enough either way. Once again, thanks for dreaming with me. And until we meet again, may your nights be rich with guidance and your mornings full of clarity.